Hello, welcome to One of Nine. I'm Maria Jones and I'm here with Claire Buscombe of the Big Buscombe Dynasty. And Claire is married to one of those, Robert. And Claire and Robert have 8 lovely children. And coming around here today, it's very calm. You can't really believe there's 8 children that live in this house, in this very pretty, lovely house and area. You were not a Cornish girl, but you've come down to Cornwall. And you've embraced...
For the past 23 years.
So Claire, did you have a Catholic upbringing?
No, I converted 23 years ago as well. So, yeah, moved to Cornwall, converted, and stayed.
Because of Robert?
Yeah, you can blame Robert. Yeah.
I'm very close to all the Buscombes down here. But you were Southern England beachy girl anyway.
Yes, used to the coast, used to the sea.
So you had James, Wesley, Zeth, Noah, Trinity, then Barnabas, then Jacinta and Agnes.
Yeah.
Barney, could you tell us a bit more about our lovely Barnabas?
Yeah, Barnabas is in the middle of our family.
And he's the reason that we've really got chatting, really.
True, yeah.
Because we were expecting our lovely Vincent. Heard that he had Down syndrome. You have this little Barnabas who has Down syndrome. And a mutual friend put us in touch and said, you've got to talk to Claire. So I was like, yes, please. So then when we were in hospital, we really appreciated me messaging you, just anything. You were so sweet to take time to message and ask questions. And
Barnabas is 9 now, and so it all, it came flooding back what you were going through. And it's not easy. We've been through some tough times. So any support that we can give to other families, I think, that's what we're here for. So
yeah. So when did you hear that Barnabas might have Down syndrome? Was it a pregnancy? How was the pregnancy?
We heard at the early stages of the first scan, which was difficult because it was also the first time I'd been to a scan without Robert. And I was just told the news that something wasn't right with the water behind the neck. I was actually given the ultimatum there and then of whether I wanted to keep him or not. And I just felt like I sank into this big pit. There was no decision I had to make because I would have kept him no matter whatever happened. So
they offered you abortion?
Yeah, and then they said, you come back for another scan see how things are progressing. We've never gone for the further
the nuchal something or other
injections. No blood tests or anything. We're just happy to go with the flow and leave it in Our Lady's hands, you know, from the moment of conception really, and just take the whole pregnancy in Our Lady's hands. So, you know, we were preparing though, for, you know, up to the birth. We were preparing.
Did they do like extra heart checks and things like that?
Yeah, all those other
Extra
scans,
bits, yeah.
which you usually have. They were checking for measurements in the heart, especially to see if there's holes in the heart, that kind of thing that needed like surgery before birth. They were quite surprised by the second scan that he actually looked normal, like any other typical
baby
20-week scan. You wouldn't have known. So if I'd missed my first scan and gone for my second scan, we would have thought that everything would have been as normal.
Oh, did you find out if you're having a girl or a boy? Do you generally find out?
I do, because I like to prepare myself. Robert doesn't like to know, so we don't usually tell. You've had children before.
Yeah.
I've had pregnancies before, and you've never come across this way of thinking, this perception that people have when you're carrying a child with maybe a disability, that you think that their life should just, you can choose whether to keep that life or not.
Yes.
It was such a strange thing to observe really, because I wasn't going to go with anything that they were offering.
I agree with you. I couldn't get my head around it.
No.
And you hear it obviously that people, you know, the abortion rates are there anyway, and that they're different for babies who might have Down syndrome. When it's in your face, it's in reality.
Yes, yeah, it's very different. Very different when it's in reality and it's offered to you.
Yeah.
You think, well, this is what women actually have to go through.
And it was quite obvious at the 12-week scan for us. It was like, oh, don't worry, we can sort it out. Sort it out was the language. And I thought, what are you talking about? I didn't even know, for anyone that's watching that might know someone that's having a baby with Down syndrome, I didn't know what to expect. And actually, nor did my doctor. So the last appointment I went to, which I think was 36 weeks, where you have like the growth scan and the check with the consultant, I said, what actually happens at the birth? Is there things that you recommend to check? Is there things that you do? You definitely recommend that you are optional? What is it? And she just said, well, would you like me to get someone to contact you? I'll just write down on here. And so that was it. And no one ever contacted me. So it was only that I got in contact with the wonderful PADS charity, Positive About Down Syndrome, and put on their Facebook page, what is the actual thing? What happens at birth? Is there something, I don't know, is there something different? Or do all babies struggle this? Or
I think each hospital varies.
Yeah.
Depends who you see on the day, like if they have knowledge on Down syndrome, whether the doctors have any medical experience with children with Down syndrome, and like the charities or the Down syndrome groups in the area, if they have any input to the hospitals. In Cornwall, they try and hand out leaflets, books to any new parents, and then like say that will give you links and contacts into the bigger organisation for Down syndrome.
DSA.
So you're not going to get like someone just walking into your ward after giving birth and saying and congratulating you and giving you all this lovely information. You have to kind of look for it
out. Yes.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I discovered that it's just they check the heart, they check breathing, and then the feeding. They're the three big things that you want to kind of jump over at the birth time. So I thought, okay, heart, breathing, feeding, and we're going to get stuck, aren't we?
Oh, you were expecting just to go home the next day? Yeah. Or that afternoon.
Well, we were so close to Christmas. He was born on the 21st at night time.
So you definitely wanted to get home.
So I thought, I would really appreciate some time before the big day.
I kind of insisted on actually staying in for a week whilst he was having all these checks done. And we actually had our own cubicle, so we weren't sharing a ward. So I kind of knew that it was going to take a while. Things weren't like just going to be straightforward. And doctors coming in and out, you kind of, well, they don't say much, but you just sense that they're going to be looking at a lot here to make sure that I say there's no holes in the heart, and that it'll be just good to go home without any operations.
Yeah.
And then there was the feeding side of it. I didn't feel I wanted to go home until he was actually latching on, and I knew that he was putting on weight or feeding well.
Yeah. And he was very sleepy.
Because he was so sleepy. Yeah, he was so sleepy that was feeding him was harder, was more challenging than any of my other children.
Yes, I found that. It was a funny phenomena, but because he was so sleepy at night, like he could have slept through. But I remembered, it kept coming to me that you'd said, it's really tempting to let them go the 6 hours, but don't do it. And I thought, don't do the 6 hours. And it is really tempting. Oh my gosh, I've really got to wake him up, I've really got to feed him. But it got to the point after a week, I couldn't even wake him up. And so we had to go back in for more help after then. Yeah. And the other funny thing that happened with us was that in the pregnancy scans, he was so active. Vincent was so active.
Oh, really?
Like, the people were commenting on it. The doctors and sonographers were commenting on how active this baby is. That they could hardly scan him, would have to, go out, come back in, all that sort of thing. But then when he was born, it was like, then he just fell asleep.
Okay.
He'd just been working out for the whole 9 months and then fell asleep, which was funny. So then I sort of wasn't expecting it, and we had done all the heart checks, a lot of heart checks in the pregnancy, because he then had fluid around the heart and things.
And every child, it just varies. It's different from each child.
Yeah.
It's like the condition is different. Like how severe they might have Down syndrome, and just in general how it affects them in so many different ways. So, like talking to parents, there isn't just a typical routine, or there isn't. One child isn't the same to another. So.
But then there's some common things.
There are some very...
Don't let them go for 6 hours.
There's definitely some common traits that they seem to share.
The hearing shoes seem to be quite small. And even then, it's generally, isn't it? So they don't have to be. Yeah. But then all babies with Down syndrome maybe will struggle with the language, something at least early days.
Yeah, the learning aspect.
Did you learn Makaton?
We did, yeah.
And do you still do it?
He loved the Makaton. In fact, I think Mr. Tumble was one of his biggest fans of Makaton. And that really helped him, for asking for things at a young age and be able to communicate with him. Because I think people think, if someone doesn't communicate or can't talk back, that they're not interacting, they're not listening, they can't... not observing what's going on. But they're processing all the time, and Barbas is taking it in all the time what's going on. But just because he's not talking back doesn't mean he doesn't know. Yeah. So
he's 9 now, he's a big boy.
Yes, and his vocabulary is coming on.
And he's at school.
He's 2 years into school now, so he is socially getting on very well.
And so after a few years of maybe generally having loads of appointments in a year, every year, lots of different things dotted throughout the year, but otherwise not so eventful, would you say, initially?
Yeah, things started to quieten down after we kind of assessed his needs and see where he was at. He was going to be ready to moving into school, which would have then I've been...
Preschool, sort of like age 3?
No,
4?
I wasn't going to do preschool. I just felt it was too vulnerable. We still think he's too vulnerable, you just want to keep them very much under your wing. I was thinking of schooling and starting to go down that road, which would have been then a whole nother journey, but that kind of got stopped, or didn't start, because he got leukemia at the age of 5. So just before starting school, we discovered that he had appeared in this bruising, and he was looking pale, and we were quite unaware what it was until the doctor said that he needed blood tests done straight away. And from there, literally the next day, he was up at Bristol Hospital having blood transfusions, and I think if we hadn't been to the doctors, he could have died within a few weeks without us knowing, because it's that invasive, the blood cancer just had,
It's very aggressive.
Very aggressive, yeah, if it's not dealt with.
So what did you? So you notice, and quite quickly, what is getting bruises, and you think take him to the doctors just to check this out, or you left it a week maybe, or
apart from looking pale, but then he was always getting viruses and looking pale anyway, and his, like his skin he's pale and blotchy. So
yes, this mottled kind of look.
Yes, yeah, that kind of look. So we thought that was going to be normal. And then people were saying, oh, he looks a bit ghost-like. And he was just been sleeping. He just started walking by 5. But then he wasn't walking very far and he was having to sit down. We thought, was that just part of his Down syndrome condition, or is this just because he's had a virus and he's tired? Mm-hmm. So as a lot of parents say this, they don't realise until a professional usually spots it. They just think it could be growing pains or a virus.
Yeah.
So he could have been like this for quite a long time without us even realising. So he actually went to the doctors just to have a rash look. We thought it was a rash. Noah had a rash at the same time, but that was his wetsuit. But he had a rash. Barnabas's rash was associated with his blood count and bruising. And so then we spent the next 2 years in chemotherapy in Bristol Hospital, and he survived. So,
thank God.
Yeah, thanks be to God. He is recovered from leukemia.
And so leukemia is more common, slightly more common for children with Down syndrome.
Like being on a Facebook page, there are hundreds of children with Down syndrome and leukemia across the world. It's not uncommon, but it wasn't something we were even aware of, which was quite surprising. You go, like you say, you've had all these tests done when they're newborn, although nowadays they're given an extra blood test done to see if they have pre-leukemia cells from birth. So which Barnabas probably was like a year too early, he missed out on that, so that may have saved him a bit earlier. So that's a good thing that they do now, but there was no mention from any doctors or professionals saying, or health visitors, or anyone like that.
Signs.
Yeah, look out for signs of leukemia.
And he's 9, so I feel like like all the social media has come on a lot in that time.
Every year there's changes, there's more, definitely more knowledge on it.
Because even say like Rupert's 10, our Rupert, and he's allergic to dairy and eggs and some nuts. And even then, like back then, there was only one shop we could go to in the town that did a bread he could have, and soya, he had other things as well at the time. And then now it's like super cool to be vegan, and everyone's got other stuff. And maybe similar with the Down syndrome, the charity, the really lovely charity that I've appreciated, PADS, Positive About Down Syndrome. I think they started only 7 years ago.
Yeah.
And our local group started 5 years ago. So it's really, really new. And the fact that my doctor didn't know what was going to happen at the birth, until they found out from someone else, it seems to be. People just kind of don't know. We've kind of gone through eras with the Down syndrome.
Yeah, it is improving. I think with people's inclusion into disabilities, inclusions, and maybe more children with like ADHD or autism and Down syndrome, it's kind of not the same, but there's much more awareness of these conditions, and people trying to find ways of including them into life like the rest of us.
Yeah.
So they don't have to be
suffer in silence as much. And have you found any Catholic groups with Down syndrome?
No. But we're going to start one.
Yeah. Yes, I think we should.
I do know of another Catholic family, their daughter's got Down syndrome.
I know one other, that's 4 of us.
Okay.
We speak in the star, I'm a sensitive boy. You seem markedly more, and I'm losing surprise. But it's late in the day, and you're well on your way. What was golden went grey, and I'm suddenly shy. And all the gathering floozies afford to beat you, see. And all sneezing darkly in the dimming divide. This is unlike the story it was written to be. You were riding its back when it used to ride me, and we were galloping manic to the mouth of the source. We were swallowing panic in the face of its force. I am blue. I am blue and unwell. Made me bold like a horse. Go na 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 na. Watch it go, you've changed so. Water run from the snow, and my soul dear. To love unravel, you've changed so. Peach plum, peach plum.
So Claire, in a culture where people seem to think that having a child with special needs is detrimental to your other precious children, what would you say on that? Have the children kind of stepped up having Barnabas around? I mean, there's some obvious challenges when he had leukemia. Otherwise, how has it been for the others? Because you know, do you know what I mean? That
Yeah,
people
for
say, you know,
siblings.
we don't know whether it'd be too hard for the others. I mean, people really in the secular world who are making choices about life and death of their little one.
I think people probably fear what may lie ahead, but who knows what's going to lie ahead. But each of us, even our healthy children, how do we know they're not going to have an accident and they'll be able to walk again? You know, it's just.
I mean, the mere fact that if they are going to get to teenage years, they're going to get there, and you're going to need to get through that time.
I think after our experience with leukemia, it's like you just take every day as a blessing. Because you don't know what God's going to throw at you. You know, you don't. You just have to be grateful for what you've got, good or the bad, really.
And is he a bit of a kind of like a special boy in the family for the other children? Do they give him to have an extra special sparkle in their eye for him? He's always saying, we're not going to make a difference. Vincent's just going to be like all the others. We're not going to do over fussing. And then he comes and I sort of feel like, actually,
I think, yeah,
he's so cute.
as far as the siblings are concerned, no, Barnabas is the same.
That's lovely.
And gets treated the same and shouldn't get any special privileges.
Right.
But from my perspective, I obviously see his vulnerability or weaknesses and maybe a bit more cautious, or I obviously do more for him. I don't know if that's just mothering.
Yeah. And then on that strain with Barnabas was your 6th, and then you went on to have 2 more children. You've got 8 in this house. And when I walked in, just how neat and tidy you've kept your home is very impressive compared to mine, which is usually in chaos. But sometimes isn't, but usually is. You have got 8 children in this house. How many bedrooms, do you mind me asking, you've got in here?
4 large bedrooms.
Yeah. Bunk beds.
So they've always been sharing. The children are used to sharing.
They
I think
like it.
the key is keeping it simple. Maybe like minimalistic, but not too minimalistic.
Yeah. So do you cull toys? Do you do big toy culls?
Well, that happens, yeah, yearly. You have to cull toys. It's like, Mummy, where's this toy gone?
You hop down. You can sit on the chair, but not on the table, okay?
Oh, down you get one, please.
Yeah.
But I do think it's really impressive. You have got 8 children in this house, and I think little ones are one challenge and big ones are a different challenge. You've got up to 22, 23.
Very much. I thought it was going to get easier, and they were going to be more helpful. My life was going to be easier.
Uh-oh. Is that not true?
Not all the time. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't.
Yeah.
I think when you least expect it, they can be very helpful, but when you're in need of it, you think, oh, why can't they do more? But our 4 eldest are boys, so I can't expect too much.
Yeah, that's maternal homemaking nesting instinct. I suppose they just don't have that.
No. Some of them are ready to move out. They wanted to move out, and some of them are quite happy being at home with the family still.
Isn't that lovely?
Which, yeah, that is lovely.
And also, I appreciate as well, it's not easy in the faith. Some of them are going to keep the faith, take a few steps away from it for sometimes.
Yeah, the older they get, they have to find their own path, don't they? Their own faith, as it were.
Find the faith for themselves.
Yeah, their own independent faith, not mummy and daddy's faith.
Yeah.
It's very different. We pray that their Catholic roots will stay with them. So many of their friends, even some family members, who aren't together anymore. And I think they see the difficulties that it brings when you have split families or split faith, as it were, if you're not practicing the same faith or singing off the same song sheet. That will be an example for when they grow up, when they get married. Families are very important, and there's certainly forces trying to attack the families. So we have our good times, we have our bad times. They all have their own interests. They're all very individual children. They've all got their own specific talents. So, some are into electronics, technology, some are artistic. They've had an interest in shooting their granddad's farm. Wesley has a specific interest in airsoft, and I think it's quite a healthy lad's pursuit, kind of a hobby. They get outside, run off a bit of testosterone. There's a lot of the in-laws as well that all get involved in this, at least once a month. Yeah, once a month, down in the woods.
And this is mixed religious. This is
mixed
believers.
religious. This is not. This is a diverse community.
So your righteous pellets may make believers.
Exactly. If I get them in the right, if I
hit them in the right spot, grace may pour forth.
Exactly. Oh, dear.
It is through pain that we attain our salvation, John.
Exactly. No pain, no gain. That's the way I look at it.
Claire, thanks so much. Lovely to meet you.
Always so lovely to meet you.
After so many chats. I feel like we've been good friends for a long time now.
Yay.
Thank God. It's been so good to us. Lovely Agnes.
And she is loving baby.
And thank you, to you for letting us film with you and chat with you and continue helping us with Vincent and all those things. God bless you. Thank you so much for watching. If you have a child with Down syndrome, or if you know someone who does, particularly if they're Catholic and they want to join our little Catholic Down Syndrome Association, then do be in contact, because I think we'll get the ball rolling at some point. God bless.
Everybody knows that I love you. Everybody knows that I need you. Everybody knows that I do. Except you. I told the stars above about the one I love. I told the morning sun, yeah, I'm telling everyone. I told my mom and dad.
Check it out. I am the ultimate badass. Yeah. State of the badass art. Check it out. Me and my squad of ultimate badasses will protect you. Check it out. Independently targeting particle beam phalanx. We got tactical smart missiles. Phase plasma pulse rifles, RPGs, we got sonic, electronic, ball breakers. We got nukes, we got knives, sharp sticks.
Knock it off, Hudson. All right, gear up. 2 minutes, people. Get hot.
And I'll get through to you. It's the last thing that I do. Everybody knows that I love you. Everybody knows that I need you.
Go to infrared, people. Look sharp.
I got signals, I got readings in front and behind.
Where, man?
He's right, there's nothing back here. Look, I'm telling you, there's something moving and it ain't us. They're all around us, man.
Maybe they don't show up on infrared at all.
Frost! Frost!
Let's rock!
Yeah.
Do different, like slightly different sizes. You guess by what's on the spoon,
Yeah.
and then, but in the end, we're gonna have to weigh this, and then it makes the customers happier too, because they're not feeling put out by having a slightly larger one or a slightly smaller one.
Cool.
Yeah.
So what weight do you want? What's your idea?
So we've got 3 different size pasties. The large ones are between 14 and 16 ounces. So between
Wow.
14 ounces, yeah. And mediums are between 8 and 10. And the pixie between 4 and 6. So
Do you,
yeah.
because of all of this, do you batch cook at home?
do you know, not in pasty.
In
tray bakes, maybe. Like we make a big tray of sweet things, probably. Yeah,
Or just anything? Just anything, just because you're like, making.
But yeah, if I'm making something, I'll make a big batch because I know it's going to go further, although it doesn't last. Yeah, got a pile of
So
gallons.
Josie, if that's a bit heavy,
Yeah.
what do you do? Chop more pastry?
Take some out.
Oh, you take some out?
Yeah. I always do it before I squeeze the pastry too tight and it won't undo. So,
Oh, it's so pretty.
yeah.
How lovely to have Cornish pasties made by Cornish girls in Cornwall. So have you got a chopper for the turnip?
Yes, we have a chap comes in, he does all of the...
Did
yeah, he does all
Is
of
it
the...
Justin or no?
Yeah.
Oh, it's Justin. Oh.
Yeah, he's
And
brilliant.
is he the chopper? Or
He
does
is, yeah, he chops all the veg,
he use
preps
the
it.
chopper?
He uses a chopper.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does all the
And then what qualifies the Cornish pasty? Because when I came to Cornwall many years ago and I didn't like Cornish pasties, like on this particular occasion,
Yeah.
years and years ago, I didn't really like the turnip thing in it. So I thought, oh my gosh, amazing, I've got chicken and bacon or something. So I got chicken and bacon, and then it still had turnip in it, and it still had like that Cornish pasty taste, basically, the Cornish pasty.
That was chicken
But
pasty.
whatever it was, what qualifies as Cornish pasty? Obviously, lovely bit of pastry.
So yeah, turnip, potato, and steak. Steak. Yeah, steak and mince mixed. It's a bit generally has to be steak. You have to have a good lot of steak in there. Salt and pepper. Yeah. The taste kind of.
Yeah.
So we do it in bulk, so you weigh it.
So do you do any other flavours?
We do cheese and veg. We do a chicken.
So what does the cheese replace? Or does it
Cheese and
add
veg,
in?
turnip, potato, and cheese, and salt and pepper. That's it.
So it's the turnip potato bit that's
Yeah.
consistent. And then what about herbs?
So nothing in the cheese, just salt and pepper.
Yeah. And the meat one?
Salt and pepper.
So
Yeah.
no herbs?
No herbs. Chicken. You have your
Thyme?
mixed herbs. Italian seasoning, your garlic and your thyme. All
So
of
what
it.
do you have in the chicken? Chicken, turnip potato.
Yeah, and then cream cheese, caramelised onion that goes in there, and then your herbs. Yeah, that makes it does
in
make
the
it.
chicken one?
Yeah.
Wow. So would you chop up a bit more pastry if it's a bit heavy?
If it's heavy, like my one I just did, and I and the pastry would stick on that side, so I just took them off. Yeah. Yeah, it depends, because like if this is taken out at like 4 o'clock, a couple of hours before we need it, it's still solid in there.
Okay, frozen.
Yeah. Or just cold from being in the fridge, so it does have to thaw out for a few hours. Summertime needs less time. Winter time it could sit here all day, so we tend to put it in the warmer for a bit and warm it through.
Oh, I see. There was a warm being used for something else. Oh no, that was just
bread.
Actually, it was just Michelle telling me about the market, just like the actual little warmer.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So at the end, when you have a load of turnip around the edges, does somebody get a really turnipy?
So no, we tend to keep that back actually, and it just goes to either myself or Joe. So we take it in turns as to who takes all the little bits. These are little bits left over. Yeah, all the end bits and pieces. Yeah.
That's so lovely. I'm so pleased to see you're still working together, girls.
Yeah, although I'm finishing end of May. I'm doing biscuits. I still make biscuits.
Charles or Charlie or Chaz?
Myself and Sophie do biscuits. So I'll just be stopping Monday because it's Tuesday.
Cecilia's?
Yes, one of Cecilia's girls. I work with on a Thursday, and the biscuits are big bake. So it's too hard to come twice a week with the family and homeschooling and all the rest of it. So I've had to decide when the shop opens that later, when Dan gets home later, that I will need to be at home.
Yeah.
So Thursday he's off, so I'll come in on his day off and work. Yeah, so I'll miss my Mondays.
Oh, the end of your sisterly era out in this way.
Yes, yeah, it's been strange for a bit. Well done. Here comes our hot chocolate.
I'm a little bit behind tonight.
Oh, that's okay. Thank you very much. That little service.
Josephine, that is so lovely. He just is like screaming out for nicknames, that's the thing. I mean, he's even like, he could even be Freckle Boy now.
Can I see your one somewhere up there?
I don't know where it is, Audrey, alright? What are you, strap him?
Yeah, come on. Can I see it? No! It's mouldy chocolate!
Bit of a treat.
No, that's not. Mama, you're not the lady of the house. Yes.
No, we had one of these.
Well, you have to have a pink lady apple.
Who gave you the pink ladies?
I think I bought them.
Oh, Daddy.
So, you have to
Daddy
have
got
pink lady apples. Then you have. Then
really
you can be
amazing.
the lady of the house.
Audrey, I'm gonna have one. That's such a treat, guys.
Oh, can you show the doctor there?
Huh?
Show the doctor there. So that's pink.
All right. I will. Yeah, my window is open, but I can't see an open window up there. Oh, this is the kind.
Which one is it, Audrey?
That one in there.
There he is. Hi guys.
Why has he got a plaster on his toe?
Because it's leading up to this. Leads up to this. Leads up to this. Leads up to this. Leads up to this. It reads its measurements.
Mama, I had one. Yeah, me too. I had one too.
Did you? Where'd you get sweeties from? How are you?
In my mouth.
I know, in my mouth. Now, do you think baby Vincent's a bit hungry again?
Yeah.
Because he could just have tiny bits of feeding. Come here then, little guy.
No one's too pleased about that, is he? Look at that.
He just had tiny bits. He's so lovely. I just did his nappy and they like to weigh it. Yeah. Yeah. His sats are good at the moment, yeah. He's kind of been, they will hang around, he's on oxygen. They will hang around 93 to 96, 5 even really. 94. And it doesn't like it when he gets to 168, which he does when he gets very upset. What happened last night?
What was that?
Baby Vincent has these little episodes of like a choking cough. And so we just kind of get him through them, don't we, Flissy? Do you remember when Baby Vincent has a little cough?
Yeah.
But last night when he coughed so badly,
He couldn't breathe.
that he stopped coughing and he stopped moving and he just had his eyes open with no breathing. So that was really bad. So, the doctor said as long as he doesn't do that for 15 seconds and it's 10 to 12, then as long as he switches back on. And that's the time to do it. Get them all freshened up.
Me first.
Scrubby scrubs, yeah, can you see it? Or you can do it.
Oh, two.
Will you get us some tissue? You've got to put it slowly, it doesn't like fast pulls. And it pulls it both off.
Lizzie took my sweet and ate it.
That's what Tony's sisters do.
In the bin?
Yeah.
Oh, fruit bind. Did you touch them?
No.
I'm sweet. I did. We can sometimes have germs on.
And I have one more.
And we don't want any more germs for our boy.
Yeah, give him one more. You speak nicely to Brother Rupert. One more what? Now?
One more.
Oh, Audrey.
Immediately?
One more immediately.
No. And if I can have two, I would have that one. Oh, let's give that one to the people. Get these out.
Oh, and that, Mama.
It's squashing, Felicity. Come on.
This in the
Come on.
bin. But I can't. Audrey's lying on
Come on, that's Hugo.
Thank you, Naz, Hugo.
You're welcome.
Oh,
Lay down for you.
thank you, Felicity. Yep, back we go. Audrey's.
No, me too.
Love you so much.
Bye, Mummy.
See you soon.
Bye.